Hey, happy Friday, sixth graders! Woohoo! 1 week away from spring break, but even more important, last day of trimester 2. That means we are 2/3 of the way through this school year. You've been champions. Hang in there. You're doing great. Things are opening up at 11 a.m. today. The governor's going to announce some normalcy. So lots to look forward to. So I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Get outside, enjoy the sun, breathe fresh air, and know that we're heading towards better tomorrow. Okay. Today, again, I'll remind you, we're in the world of nonfiction, so we got to worry about fact versus opinion. So that's today you're writing facts, not opinions. Other than you're going to write what you think something is, but you're going to use evidence to do it. So it's really leaning towards fact. Okay, so yesterday we talked about this idea that choosing a text structure is an active choice, right? Consider the audience and consider the nature of information. And we did this kind of fun activity. I thought it was fun, where for the next 5 slides, we went through the silhouettes of reader profiles. I'm going to change it up a little bit today. So if you're watching this from home, then go to your reader's notebook, kaboom, right? Number 6 through 10, because yesterday was 1 through 5. And we're going to do another little exercise where I want you to start and stop the video. Okay, so here we go. We did it yesterday, so you did it in class with me, or you did it at home because you're always learning from home. I changed it up a little bit. It's not bullet points. It's just a quote. So here's the first one. So after I'm done talking, stop the video and you can write down what you think. So this person, this reader, says this. I really love to read about science-based theories about early civilization. I love learning about how we changed and evolved as we moved from hunter-gatherers to living in villages and cities over time. Which text structure does this person seem to be most effective at reading? Like, which one would we choose? If I'm going to try to get this person's attention, would I choose sequential, description, cause, effect, problem, solution, or compare, contrast? Okay, stop the video now and write your answer down. All right, number 2. This is number 7. I love learning about how humanity responds to crises. I believe that we are very adaptable species and we change according to our environment. I love reading stories where world events changed us as people. So which one of these would be a very effective text structure to use to get this person's attention? Stop the video now. Okay, you're done with 7. Here's number 8. I am a huge fan of conspiracy theories and stories where really big events were covered up or classified by governments because they didn't want their people to know about it. Which text structure would this person really appeal to? Stop the video. All right, hopefully you started it. Number 9. I am a major environmentalist and I am searching for hope and inspiration and technology and science that will somehow help us stop global warming and the explosion of plastic in our oceans and our bodies. Which text structure would really grab the attention of this person? All right, and number 10. I really, really love traveling around the globe, but I don't like staying in resorts. I like staying with regular people in their homes. What I love is seeing how similar we are as human beings, no matter where we live. Which text structure might appeal to this person? Okay, so there's a video. You stopped it each time. You got 5 things written down. I would say to go through it. This person, probably a sequential person, right? So this is about the history timeline. We were hunter-gatherers, then we changed into people living in cities. That's over time. This might be a sequential person who wants to learn the progression of history. It also could be cause and effect, right? Like we changed and evolved. That is actually cause and effect. Number 2, or actually number 7, was this is about how people respond to crises. We are adaptable. We change. So events change us. That causes an effect. So that's probably cause effect. All right. Then we have number 8, conspiracy theories. This person probably just wants to have information. So this is probably a description. They want to get information about this event. Here's what happened. Here's the result. Like it's really just information of an event. I used to do that with like the Cold War and submarines. Number 9, this is a person environmentalist who wants to learn about ways that we can solve the problem that's right in front of us with climate change and plastic all over the place. So they want a problem solution situation. They want to know what's the solution. And this person, number 10, really wants to travel around the globe, and she just wants to stay with regular people and compare them. Like, she wants to see how similar we are. She likes that, or she or they like that. I'm making an assumption here. I shouldn't make that assumption. So they like to see people as a similar. That's a compare contrast. All right. So there we go. That's that little activity. That's in your notebook. Everything has we talked about this yesterday as well, history, similarity or an opposite, a definition, a purpose, and an impact. So basically, even though we talk about text structures as one thing we choose, everything actually has all of it. Some stuff's just more of it. So if I write a history of humanity, I'm really writing sequential, but I will talk about compare and contrast. I will have descriptions of things. I will have a problem and a solution in there, and I will have cause and effect. But it just might be a book that's largely framed over the course of history. It might be a book that's largely framed as just one big definition. Here's the thing. So today we're going to change it up, and I'm going to actually ask you to listen. And I want to make sure you understand why. We have got to get better at listening. Your attention spans are shortening, but we need more of it because information has never been richer. We know more now in the moment than we've ever known in the, if you add up all history's knowledge together, we know more right now. We got to be able to process that. So here's the thing. You're going to listen today because we are genetically designed to be storytellers. We're genetically modified. Our bodies have designed themselves to create language. That means we're also then supposed to hear it. So it works together. So we are genetically designed to listen. But hearing is different than listening. Hearing is I understand. Listening is there's noise coming in. Right? Are you really hearing me? Right? You're listening, but are you hearing me? That's really kind of an interesting difference, because sometimes my daughters will look at me and I'll tell them, and I say, "Are you hearing me?" And they're like, "Yeah, yeah," and then they haven't. They don't know what I just said, or they weren't really, really actually actively hearing what I was trying to say. They listened, but they didn't hear me. All right. So today, I want a little background. You're going to listen to a podcast for about 28 minutes. That's going to require some patience. It's from a podcast about Odessa, Texas. And just so you know, there's some background. This is where it is. Odessa is known because there was literally a movie, a TV show, and a book written about how Odessa, Texas is nuts about Friday night football. Like crazy. People camp out for high school football game tickets. So this is about how the pandemic hit Odessa. And there are two high schools in Odessa. One is really big time football, and the other one is not. So you're going to hear about the one that is not. But anyway, this is interesting because you're going to hear this podcast that talks about this high school, and you're going to hear from one student, a teacher. You're going to hear about these kids and the school. So you're going to get a lot of information. So I want you to listen for the whole thing. And I want you to write down at least 5 things that you found interesting, at least 5. You could fill up a page because it's really interesting. But we have to write things down. Otherwise, we're not going to remember anything. Because after we listen, we will reflect. So after you're done, this is what I want you to think about what you just heard. So think about the text structures, right? Think about what you heard in this podcast. And I want you to think, which one did you really hear? Okay. So I don't want you to worry about writing perfectly. This is sort of a free write, but I want you to reflect. Name the text structure or text structures that you heard in this podcast. I heard sequential when they did this. I heard cause and effect. So I want you to use exact examples. I want you to prove me that you could hear the information that comes from this podcast. And so you have to explain how each example shows that text structure. And we are writing in paragraphs. So if you write in one paragraph, you're talking about one text structure that you heard, right? I heard cause and effect. And here's how I know. I heard this and this and this. Okay. If you switch to another text structure, oh, I also heard compare and contrast. That's a different paragraph. So you like go to the next line and you indent, and that's another paragraph. I'd like you to try for 2. Okay. Try for 2, at least 2. If you find all 5, God bless you. I want you to keep writing. And then today, all I want you to do is submit your writing for today from your reader's notebook. So I should see what everything you've written down are your notes. So the 5 things, 6 through 10, your notes, and then these paragraphs, these 2 paragraphs, at least 2 paragraphs. You can do more. And then after you've done with that, look at your grade book. Anything that's a 0 is probably a missing. So you have today to get it in. And then your missings are due today. This is the last day of trimester 2. All right, everyone. I hope you have a safe weekend. Love you. Have a great Friday, and make sure you breathe in some fresh air and take some sun in. All right, take care. Oh, one last thing. Oh, just so you know, this is the podcast. Please let me know if you can't access it. I can probably send you a link, but it should let you actually get to that podcast. And you're going to listen to the 28:21 mark. Remember? Okay. All right. Now I'm ready to say goodbye. If it lets me.